Welcome to TMZ Live. Harvey Levin here.
Charles here.
So the Bill Belichick, Jordan Hudson saga is getting deeper and deeper. So they were in New York last night outside the Ritz Hotel, and they were asked about whether Jordan is controlling Bill Belichick.
The way it looked after that CBS Mornings interview that he did where she kept interrupting. So everyone's wondering who's running the show.
We went a lot deeper because all you see is one interruption on the actual interview, but we found out she was constantly interrupting to the point where the reporter threw his hands up.
Right, but this was them. So everyone wants to know what is going on in this relationship. We got them leaving their hotel in New York City. Doesn't seem like they're ready to come clean yet.
Hi, Bill. How do you think about the CBS interview went? Do you like it?
Well, okay, that was sort of the
was kind of a question, but no answer there.
You get what you get.
Yeah, so no answer there. Look, you could look at that interview and just say, all right, it's just a girlfriend who's stepping in, or maybe she shouldn't. But there, after that interview, there are people at University of North Carolina.
But just for people who didn't hear this story before.
You want to see the interruption?
No, not just the interruption. What we're told is it was constant. Don't answer that question. Answer that question. Don't answer that. When asked about a football thing,
the interview for a half an hour.
She told him he answered the football question wrong.
Which is stunning, considering Bill Belichick's football pedigree. Yes, so the fact that she stopped it so many times, and yes, we're told at one point 30 minutes lapsed as they were trying to figure out how to go forward with this interview. But there are people at his new place of employment who are a little concerned after all this.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Charles. So now people at UNC, who obviously were so excited to have maybe the greatest coach of all time coaching their program, are now really concerned that Jordan Hudson has her hands on everything that's going on in Belichick's program here. And there is, again, real concern on the UNC campus right now that this is a really bad situation that they've found themselves in, all thanks to this woman.
Babcock, isn't she on all the emails
yes,
at UNC?
Exactly right. Exactly right, Harvey. And essentially the story goes that Bill Belichick is funneling everything that he says or that comes to him through Jordan Hudson first. And I guess she's funneling things.
In Jordan's defense, is she, as his girlfriend, also acting as a de facto publicist? I mean, is that really all that's happening here?
Well, wait a minute. A publicist, I get to a point. When she starts telling him that he answered a football question wrong,
maybe they had worked on it beforehand, and
Charles,
and
you've been around.
She wanted him to
answer
answer it a certain way.
You don't do that in the middle of an interview.
Bill Belichick, you guys know this guy hardly ever talks. They were supposed to have a secondary interview with CBS, and CBS canceled the interview because they were that uncomfortable with what was happening in the first interview. When do you know anyone to say, hey, Bill Belichick will sit down and talk to me, but we're not going to do it as the media organization? That's rare, and that happened in this situation.
So one of the things that is the most curious about this, to me at least, is that the story of how they met.
That was the one where
airplane.
Right. That was the interruption that CBS left in the interview.
So this is what we were told. They met in an airplane, and he signed a book for her.
Yeah.
And
thanks for giving me a course on logic.
I have a gub.
Safe travels.
And
Bill
he wrote
Belichick.
every single one of his Super Bowl victories.
Right. Remember? And so we had this. Now she interestingly has reposted that.
Well, because here's the CBS interview. This is the one time they actually kept the interruption in.
Jordan, right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
It struck everyone as odd and so even when she reposted the book that Bill signed the day they met, all the comments, she said February 11, 2025, Happy meet-iversary, Bill Belichick. Cheers to the fact that you still let me give you lengthy philosophical lectures 4 years later. The comments on her posts are, yeah, but how did you guys meet?
Right.
Yeah, but how did you meet? Because people aren't believing it now because she cut off the question. I don't understand why.
Can I tell you, I don't know if you even, this registered for you. To me, the funniest thing is when the reporter there asks, he just wants to say, let me talk about your personal life, but he doesn't want to say it that way because it's CBS and whatnot. So it's more like, there are a lot of people who have been invested in this and talking about this. So it's kind of the way of sliding into the basic question.
I love how you're acting like you've never done that.
Oh, but I've done it. I do it more directly.
Hi, I'm Stephanie from New York City. First off, dude, did anybody see his old sweatshirt? It is literally decades older than his girlfriend, which I couldn't get past. But at the same time, I mean, it's obvious she's pissed. I mean, she's given this 4 years of servitude into an opportunistic relationship that hasn't given her a return on her investment. So she's like, no, move over. I'm now the head coach of this relationship. I'm going to call the plays. And look, we're sitting here talking about her. So I think she knows what she's doing.
She knows what she's doing. Does Bill know what's happening?
I just got to admit something to you. You busted me. I work for CBS, and I've asked questions exactly the same way. So guilty. I'm sorry.
Do I want to bring up the Paris Hilton? Do I want to bring up the Paris Hilton?
I already said guilty, okay? Okay, we got to move on.
Yes, moving on to Shannon Sharpe and the video of Shannon and his accuser that you won't be seeing, not yet anyway, according to the accuser's attorney, Tony Buzbee. Now, Tony Buzbee says this video, which Shannon Sharpe has described as a sex tape, will not be coming out. He is acknowledging, Tony Buzbee, that it exists and says that we discussed this in mediation with Shannon Sharpe. He did not want to see the video. We didn't show it to him, but he knows it exists. But Tony Buzbee says this is key evidence in our case against Mr. Sharpe, so it will not be coming out. He will not be leaking this.
And saying basically it's going to come out during the trial.
Right.
If there's a trial.
If there's a trial, it will come out, which to me sounds like he's still dangling it over Shannon's head to say, we can meet, we can settle this, or we can go forward into a trial and then the video is going to come out. Now, Shannon has described the video much differently from what his accuser is saying. This is what he said when he actually challenged Buzbee to release it.
Tony Buzbee targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media.
What's interesting is Tony and his client have never made any sort of mention to this video. Shannon Sharpe and his attorney and his attorney's team are the only ones who have talked about this. So Tony actually made reference in this to that fact when we talked to him last night about all this. He said Sharpe's team is the only ones that disclosed that, not us. So I don't really know what to make of that. If Sharpe's team is the only one speaking about this video and Buzbee isn't.
I think what you can glean from it is that this was a centerpiece of the negotiation before the lawsuit was filed.
Right.
I mean, I think that's the one thing that's clear, right?
Yes, for sure. And it still remains at the center because it certainly sounds like, regardless of how Shannon describes it or the accuser describes it, for Shannon Sharpe and his career, it's probably not advantageous for it to come out.
Right.
Essence from Atlanta, him refusing to look at the evidence just gives me the impression that he wants plausible deniability, and maybe the evidence should be released so that way he does not deny his actions. I mean, if that was me, I would definitely want to look at the evidence to see what I did and did not do so I can maintain my innocence.
I have a feeling, well, actually, I don't know whether he actually saw it or not. He's certainly aware of it.
Yeah.
But it's unclear to me. Did he see the whole thing through Buzbee?
Buzbee says he did not see it. They offered to show it to him and that he didn't want to see it. But Shannon knows.
He knows what's on it because he was involved in it.
He was there and he knows when it was recorded.
But he also may have seen it previously. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
We're taking a break.
All right. When we come back, Beyonce kicks off her tour right here in LA with a little surprise. How old is she? 8? Anyway, a little surprise. And then we're going to show you what the fans were doing. Because you know how Beyonce's fans show out for a concert? Well, some of them decided they were going to mix it up, as in fight. Yeah, we got the video. Well, Beyonce kicked off the Cowboy Carter tour right here in Los Angeles. Not exactly the most country place, but what?
Yeehaw! Well, it's got a cowboy theme.
I wish I had just said no.
I think it's relevant. I think it's relevant because she didn't sell out. And a lot of people think it's sort of because she was promoting country, but she's not really country.
I mean,
and the pop
I know people are saying it didn't sell out.
I mean, she sold a lot.
Don't tell me that's not impressive.
She sold a lot, but look at the
sold a lot.
I know. She sold a lot.
Yeah, she didn't sell the obstructed view. On the nosebleed obstructed view where you wouldn't actually see the screen. No.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Please, don't talk to me about Beyonce's ticket sales.
Anywho.
But there was a big surprise, as I said in the tease, a little surprise. I was off by a year. It's not an 8-year-old. It's a 7-year-old superstar, or future superstar, if she so chooses, who joined Mom on stage. And her sister, Rumi, making her debut, one of the twins.
Never seen her on stage before.
No, she's certainly never been part of like one of her performances.
So she's on stage with Blue Ivy.
Yeah, now Blue Ivy we know is a seasoned vet now after doing a full tour with Mom. But yeah, they had, she had her daughters out on stage with her
Family affair.
Yeah, there's a lot of people here, too, that went to the show last night and said it was unbelievable. And Blue Ivy, by the way, I know you mentioned, Charles, that she's done shows with Beyonce in the past. She totally upped her game. Like, her dance moves were amazing. She had several solos. She even did choreography to Beyonce's old choreography 20 years ago. So people loved that she was recreating all that on stage. But I mean, yeah, it didn't sell the way it could have, but it was still packed. Beyonce had a 3-hour set and played 36 songs. It was kind of like a bunch of different songs, not just country music.
Which is interesting. Why they just, but they should have sold it broader. Because I think a lot of pop people thought, oh, well, this is going to be
Cowboy Carter.
Right.
But also, the Cowboy Carter album is not
I understand.
like
I know
traditional country.
But Texas Hold'em is a country song.
Sure.
And that's the
with a great
that was I'm not saying it's bad, I liked it.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that it's sort of, as they say, betwixt and between.
Well, some at least a few of her fans had no problem embracing the country theme, including
called Kick-Ass.
Including Oprah and Gail, and Tyler Perry, who was not in cowboy gear. They were having a good old time in a box there at SoFi.
Boy, they're getting around. They were in New York the night before.
It's like almost like she has a private plane or something.
I know, it's crazy. I thought you were talking about something different. That there were some ladies who had a get-up of, cowboy boots and whatnot.
Yeah, the Beehive was buzzing at one point. This might have been after the show. I'm sure they wouldn't have missed any of the show for this nonsense.
Nonsense that we want to show you.
Yes, nonsense that we're...
Oh, yeah.
No, you didn't. Come on, Queens. Is this really how we're acting out here? Come on.
Oh, my God.
Oh, she almost saved it. She almost saved it.
I love when you do play-by-play.
I got to tell you, the woman in red took that very calmly. She just got back up. She's like, I'm not fighting anybody. Put my belt back on.
Anyway, they'll be there all week.
They won't be there. Beyonce.
No, I actually meant them.
Hey, my name is Nick from Knoxville. And yeah, this concert didn't sell out, but still, this big of a stadium not sold out is more than most arenas. People talk about LeBron's longevity. LeBron's been doing it forever. Beyonce's 43, still doing stadium tours. So I'm pretty impressed. But if she really, really wants to get my full approval, she'll get Jay-Z to give us another album very soon.
So I have a question, Nick from Knoxville. Is she embraced by hardcore country people?
I'm going to be honest, down here, she's really not. It's mostly pop fans who love her. People down here who are country fans, all I see on Facebook and Instagram is, this isn't real country. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Morgan Wallen everywhere and somewhat Post Malone, but people really aren't loving these pop artists coming over into country.
Appreciate the honesty.
Thank you.
Yeah, we needed an honest country review from country
Knoxville.
part of the country.
Nick from Knoxville.
Indeed.
Okay, we're moving on.
Yes, to Kim Kardashian and the armed robbery trial going down in Paris. And one of the
something to see.
One of the grandpa robbers, as they're being called, taking the stand and admitting that he has regrets. Yunus Abbas is 71 years old now, and when
this trial has been going on for so long and delayed so long, he wrote a book already.
He wrote a book where he's confessed to this. In the book, he's confessed to authorities, but he has to go through the process here. And it seems like maybe he's hoping to get a reduced sentence because his testimony was that he's had time to think about this. He says, I have regrets. Before, I didn't. It opened my eyes. I've discovered there's trauma behind it.
So he's talking about the trauma now. So what he's saying is, look, I'm copping to this. But before, in the book, what he said was, Kim spends way too much. It's
kind of said she had it
obnoxious.
coming.
And she said it had it coming. I mean, that was his point of view in the book.
Because
he was like Robin Hood.
Right. The way he saw it, she was throwing away a bunch of money, so why not take some? Now, one of the things that he talked about on the stand is the bumbling part of this crime. Even though they made off with nearly $10 million in jewels, he admits that he was, during the getaway, dropped a $24,000 necklace and didn't go back to get it.
I remember when they found that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that was him.
Yeah, that was him. This is just crazy. So she's going to testify May 13th. So she's traveling to Paris and she's going to tell the jury. Unusual to have a jury in these cases, but there is one. She will tell the jury exactly what she went through, and there will be tears because it was unbelievably traumatic for Kim. I mean, she thought she was a goner.
I think this will be fascinating what she says on the stand, and I think it'll tie into what Yunus did. This guy, Yunus Abbas, by taking responsibility and feeling guilt over it, sort of meshes with Kim's devotion of a lot of her life to prison reform, people who have actually changed their ways. You could see him, you could see her maybe on the stand urging a lighter sentence for him and not the ones who haven't taken responsibility.
I don't think that she will, but I do agree with Derek that Yunus is probably aware of that stance with Kim. Now, she says she believes in that when people go into prison that they can be reformed. This guy hasn't done any time. He has not been in prison.
The guy wrote a book saying she deserved it.
Right. He wrote a book, and now he's on the stand. Look, maybe he's being truthful, but
she's not going to say that.
Seems to me like he's...
People change, Harvey, and he's expressing remorse. He's saying he was poor. Kim devoted a lot of her life to people who have been in adverse circumstances. He said he had no male role model. He grew up impoverished.
No,
She's going to be sympathetic to some of those things.
Well, I don't know that... Look,
well, she doesn't get a say in it
She doesn't get a say in it. Right. They're going to ask her what happened. It's not what do you think should happen to them.
Right.
They're going to ask what happened to you. Right, Derek?
You're absolutely right, but she's a powerful voice.
Wow.
Basic law.
That was a lawyer challenge if ever I heard one.
You're 100% right. This is in the hands of the jury and the judge, but she is the victim, right? So if she says, I think this guy is not necessarily the one to blame, go with the ones who aren't taking responsibility, maybe it has some sway.
Yeah, go with the other 75, 80-something-year-olds.
Hey, Derek, Yale must be proud, you know?
I do them proud every day here.
Hey, this is Aaron from the Bronx. I'm proud that Kim gets to get some closure from this because, you know, it's ending. But at the same time, as far as this guy's concerned, he's 71, so he was in his 60s when he did this. A life of crime just doesn't last this long. Like, at this point, I'm just as impressed with his commitment as I am happy for her getting closure.
Oh, my God.
You had time to try so many other things in your life.
It's true.
Right. He could have taken up golf, but robbery just sounded like a good hobby, right? Okay, we get it.
Some things you do what you're good at.
Okay, we're going to take
arguably he's not that good at it.
We're going to take a break.
All right, when we come back, Jeremy Renner opening up about some of the trauma he went through after that accident, an experience he had, a after-death experience. You can hear what he had to say when we come back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Justin Timberlake made Portland kids' dream come true by joining a bike bus ride. And they always listen to Justin Timberlake.
Cry me a river when they fall.
It's TMZ.
Jeremy Renner went through, we know he went through hell and back. And he has now written a book about this. we marveled at how quickly he was able to recover.
It is shocking. Just shocking.
That's the physical recovery. But there was a lot that clearly he went through during this experience that he still has not shared, and now he's written this book.
He's saying
He's
saying he was clinically dead.
Yeah.
That he was clinically dead for a point.
Here's how he described part of the experience on CBS Mornings.
So the mental acuity to have to just focus on just one thing, and that was breathing, because I wasn't breathing, and there's no way my body was going to breathe because it was crushed. So that part just saved me, just keeping it, zooming out, focusing on just breathing. So I wasn't going to breathe. Didn't matter that my eyeballs out of my head, that my legs were all twisted up like a pretzel. Doesn't matter. I'll worry about that later. You got to breathe first. If you don't, I'm passing out, and then my body's not going to breathe, and organ failure, and then I'm dead.
Wow, to have the wherewithal to think about that and be aware
when
that
you're in,
as he described,
unbelievable pain.
And he says that he was technically dead.
And then like vividly describes what the experience was
what he says in the book. When I died, what I felt was energy, a constantly connected, beautiful, and fantastic energy. There was no time, place, or space, and nothing to see except a kind of electric, two-way vision made from strands of that inconceivable energy. I could see my lifetime. I could see everything all at once. In death, there was no time at all, yet it was also all time and forever.
So translate that for me.
It was, I mean, honestly, if that was his experience, it sounds like just an infinity of you're just become energy, really, right? Is that what he's saying?
It is different. It's
a little new agey for you?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not disputing it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's hard to kind of understand. It's sort of like when you see those. God, I'm going to struggle here.
A prism?
No. When they have the little photographs in that machine, and you go with the machine, and you see like all those pictures.
Spirograph? What is he talking about?
No, you know the machine where you used to put vacation pictures in, and it's round, and you put the carousel. No, the carousel with all the
slideshow?
Kind of, and then it goes.
What's happening here?
You see your whole life that way. That's kind of the way I'm seeing it.
What's happening?
I don't. It's the best I can do. It's the best I can do.
Hey, it's Gigi from Montreal. Yeah, Jeremy is such a talented actor, and I was so happy to see him have such a speedy recovery, get back to filming the show Mayor in Kingstown. I think anyone else who would go through something so traumatic, I don't know if they would recover like that. So he definitely has a new lease on life. Good for him. Wish him the best.
Yeah, no, he had an amazing recovery. Did you ever go to somebody's home and they show you vacation pictures and they got this carousel and they have the little,
I was on the tail end of that, maybe
they
once or
project
twice.
it up on the wall.
Yes.
And there's a way.
People don't do that anymore.
Believe me, but thank God. And it goes in a circle, and if you accelerate it, it goes. So you see the whole vacation.
Here's the weird thing. That has nothing to do with what he just described.
No, it's the way he said he saw his whole life. So it's almost like your life is in that carousel and it goes really fast. You're not dead for 2 hours. This is a minute or two.
I actually do find these life after death experiences fascinating because is someone really experiencing that, or is it just electricity firing in your brain still? And I don't know what it is.
I got to tell you.
I've never heard it described as a slideshow.
I'm just trying to understand better. We're going to move on.
Yes, let's do that. We're going to take a break, actually.
Let's do that. I need to
think about slideshows of your life. And when we come back, the Philadelphia Eagles make their trip to the White House. Well, some of them did. Some of the players chose not to go. We're going to get into that. And their star, the biggest player, actually cozied up to President Trump. Is this a good move, bad move? Does it matter at all? DL Hughley is going to be here for our DL Uncut segment. Welcome back to TMZ Live. It used to be this was just a sort of thing that happened and didn't get a lot of coverage. Super Bowl champions go to the White House.
World Series champions.
World Series champs go to the White House.
NBA.
No big deal.
I could go on and on.
Now, well, could you really? Because I think you're done, right?
I think I can do hockey, maybe.
What's the league called?
The National Hockey League.
All right. Winning. Anyway, now, of course, it is a big deal because there's politics attached. Who goes, which teams? Some teams just choose not to go at all, depending on who's in the White House. Well, the Eagles went yesterday and had a pretty good day, fairly uneventful, except for the fact that 14 players chose not to go. So there are two things that were the headlines here. The players that didn't go, including their star quarterback, Jalen Hurts, and the players that did go and had no problem, as some people describe it, cozying up to President Trump. In particular, the star running back, Saquon Barkley, not only golfed with the president before the event, but then rode on Marine One with him to go back to the White House. And he heard all sorts of people on social media going after him. What are you doing? Why are you cozying up to him?
So it raises the question, is the boycott a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Was it a good or a bad idea for other players to go?
Politics out of teams going to the White House?
That's the question.
Well, we're going to get into it with our good buddy DL Hughley. DL, welcome back.
Hey, man. Hey,
we
man,
missed you. It's been a whole week, man. We missed you.
A whole week, and here we are again.
So what do you think? So 14 players said, I'm going to boycott this. Whose side are you on?
I think that it's not just political. What Donald Trump has done and is doing to Black history is unsavory and is undeniable. Even what he's doing right now in terms of the Voters' Rights Act today, what he's doing right now today, it isn't just political. Donald Trump is deliberately trying to erase Black people's history for whatever quest. He's elevating Christopher Columbus again. So he deliberately is doing things to Black people that isn't just political. And any Black man that does it is going to obviously catch some level of heat.
Well, the white guys are getting criticized too for doing it. So, to me, I get it. There's got to be, I think, a point where you got to separate the person from the position. Well, here's how you can.
How can you?
I'll tell you how you can. And I'm going to give you an analogy that I think, like, one of the huge problems Democrats made was when the Dobbs decision came down, and there were a lot of people saying, well, we don't recognize the Supreme Court as legitimate anymore. You got it. If you start saying, I'm not respecting the institutions, you blow that door open for the extremes. Go not for the president, the person.
But if the president isn't respecting institutions like the courts.
Right. It's the height of irony for a man who led an insurrection and then pardon those people to talk about respect for the office. It's the height of irony for a man. No, we're not even talking about. It's not what he does to what. Donald Trump is deliberately assaulting Black history on a daily basis. That's not conjecture. That's truth. We know it's happening.
Okay.
He's deliberately. So to me, when a Black person does it, I can when it's a Black person, I can always tell what kind of Black person. I can always tell what they are. Like Saquon
whoa. What exactly does that mean?
Saquon Barkley, a couple of years, even I think earlier this year, he had a girlfriend and threw around the N-word a lot and said she wasn't a gold digger and she wasn't messing with no broke N-words. He looks like that kind of guy that is indifferent to what Black people go through. It's just true. And I think I've noticed that to be consistent with a lot of Black people who show up. They have a shoe booty affect to them.
So suppose that Trump was the head of the NFL. It wasn't Goodell, it was Trump. Would you then boycott the Super Bowl ceremony where they're presented with a trophy, where they get rings and whatnot? I mean, can't you separate the honor from the person?
I think you can't squeeze honor out of the unhonorable. He's an unhonorable man who assaults Black people, insults our history on a daily basis. We're not talking about somebody that we're having a political disagreement with. We're talking about somebody that's erasing Harriet Tubman and the Tuskegee Airmen and disbanding Black history. No, that's not political. That's an assault on our existence.
That's a bad metaphor because if Donald Trump were the commissioner of the NFL and he were doing things that was insulting or demeaning to Black players, then it would be the same thing. Roger Goodell isn't
doing that to anybody but us. What he's doing, this is not. There is a reason that the Black men, the Black people who they have a certain affect about them, they have a certain way about them. They seem to be indifferent to what is happening to Black people, and to not care about it.
Donald Trump, one of the things everybody says about him, and I know this somewhat to be true from personal experience back in the day, he listens to the last person in the room. And so I get it that you're probably not going to change a lot. But if you have the ability to, he reversed himself on tariffs because certain people quietly got in his ear. So if you're just out of the game, good luck to you for the next 4 years.
Yeah, you're asking in the last few days, he's not protecting the Voters' Rights Act. That's a direct assault on black people. That's direct. We're not having a conversation where we're speculating. Donald Trump is assaulting black history. He is assaulting our existence. And anybody who thinks that that is just political is either obtuse or naive.
But wait a minute. Go back to Abraham Lincoln. He was not initially for freeing the slaves.
Well, if Abraham Lincoln has a Super Bowl party, I ain't going to that either.
Oh, my God. Are you serious? Would you stop it?
You know what's so funny? Whenever whenever you got to go back to the dude
to Abraham Lincoln.
Okay. I'll do one better. I'll do one better for you. I'll do one better for you that is much more current, and it affected me when Bill Clinton came out with the "Don't Ask, Don't Tell."
Sure.
A lot of people, myself included, felt it was really insulting to gay people. So do you boycott Bill Clinton or do you get in his ear? Because he ultimately
But nobody's getting in his ear. None of these athletes are showing up there for this honor and like talking politics with it.
Do you really believe that somebody could change his perspective about the way he sees black people? He hasn't apologized for the Central Pop 5 almost 40 years ago.
He doesn't apologize.
So he has not apologized. He has not apologized, and he keeps saying that. This is not conjecture. You can look it up. Donald Trump has a certain lack of respect for black people, and he demonstrates it all the time. And I think any black man who goes, or black woman who goes to see him, has an air of shoe bootiness around them. They do. It's not shocking. It's shocking to me that a dude who would go see Trump dated a white girl that threw the N-word around. It's not shocking to me. Just like you had the Republican congressman, it's not shocking. They look a certain way, they move a certain way, they act a certain way, and I think he senses that in that. There's a reason why the other people who didn't go.
Well, okay, final thing. You may not be able to change his POV, but maybe you can change a policy or two. And who cares about the honest inward feelings if it's really about what he does?
INWARD.
I care very much that people are eroding black history and rolling us back to a non-existent. I care that he's taking the protections away about the Voters' Rights Act. I care that he's erasing Harriet Tubman, Kiki Airman, and Jackie Robinson. I care that he's doing that. It's not a slight thing to me. And anybody who thinks it's a slight thing is probably as guilty of that as he is. Because you cannot dismiss, he is deliberately doing what he's doing to us. Deliberately. And any black dude who does it, there's a reason those other people didn't go, and there's a reason why a man like Saquon felt there was no big deal going. You can look at them; they look a certain way. They have a shoe booty air to them.
If we went to dinner, how long would it take for them to throw us out because we're too loud? I'm just curious.
Well, not where I go. I don't know about you, Harvey.
You might get thrown out. It all depends on the venue. Definitely depends on the venue. All right, DL. Great talking to you,
man. All right, man. Always good talking to y'all. Y'all take care.
All right.
Thanks, DL. This was funny. Okay, we're going to take a break.
All right, when we come back, Sydney Sweeney had a good time at Stagecoach, hanging out with another actor, a guy, well, we'll show you who she was hanging out with. And was this PDA? You can judge. Well, Sydney Sweeney got her fill of country music this weekend. She was, last weekend, she was at Stagecoach, and some video that has surfaced shows her hanging out with a young man by the name of Brandon Sklenar, who is like the new it guy that I hear.
Do you know who he looks like?
Everybody talking about.
Do you know who he looks like? He looks like Pablo Pascal, kind of.
Little bit. But yeah, they were at Stagecoach and seemed friendly, at least. He's wearing the hoodie. She's dancing in front of him. I wouldn't say that that's like PDA.
They're pretty close.
They're close, but
I feel this is absolutely PDA. I mean, this is giving so orchestrated on Sydney's end. We've seen her do this time and time again.
Right,
I think that she knew exactly what she was doing. And you said who he looks like. In my opinion, I think he looks just like Glenn Powell, and I think she's still kind of on that train of wanting Glenn Powell. I'm so for that relationship happening.
So we should say the reason that you're saying orchestrated, that Brandon and Sydney are going to be in a movie together coming up. It's called The Housemaid.
Yeah, and remember the Glenn Powell movie, which ended up, God, he looks just like.
Okay. He does not look like.
No, he doesn't look like him. But Glenn Powell, this whole thing was staged for the movie. That whole thing.
Right.
And fool us once.
Probably.
Fool us once.
Right.
But and maybe. If this is real, nobody's going to believe it for a while because...
Or maybe, I just want to throw it out there because there is always the possibility. I know they're two very good-looking people, but sometimes two very good-looking people can just be friends.
I don't think that's true. There's absolutely no way that's possible.
No, there's no way. No, forget it.
No.
Sorry, I don't know what I was thinking. Sorry.
That was dumber than the...
Oh, nothing's dumber than that.
Yeah, I don't know. He definitely looks like the TMU version of Glenn Powell. Like, it's very obvious.
The TMU Glenn Powell? Oh, come on.
He's a good-looking guy. I mean, come on.
That's unfair to Brandon.
Is he hitched to anybody? Do we know?
I don't know.
Because apparently
he has a girlfriend. Yeah,
but
he's had a long-term girlfriend, is what I'm.
But then again, she had a boyfriend. She had a fiance.
She did.
She had a fiance. So we're not saying anything. Okay, we are going to move on.
Yes, to the man of the hour, or the father of the man of the hour, Deion Sanders, father to Shedeur Sanders, who you heard so much about over the weekend during the NFL draft because they thought he was going to go in the first round, didn't go until the fifth, and his whole family was around. Yes, he got punked with a prank call. So we got Deion here in LA. He was at LAX, and we asked him, what now? Shedeur has been drafted by the Browns.
This is code, everybody.
How does he move past the disappointment of going in the fifth round instead of the first?
This is code.
Here's Coach Prime.
Hey, now that the dust is settled, are you happy with how things turned out?
God bless you, man. You know how good God is?
I know, God is good.
You know how good God is?
You happy, man?
God is so good.
Hey, do you forgive the prankster?
God is so good, man.
God is so good is code for...
All the time.
I'm not feeling it.
No.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
That's him saying, you know what, we're looking on the positive side. We're looking at our blessings. You say God is good, and you say...
All the time. That's all.
There you go.
That's
Excellent.
all you answer. God is good. Come on.
You know, hammer that into his head this morning.
Didn't want to answer. It's like what does Southern women say again? It's like
bless your heart.
Bless your heart. They don't.
So
really
your point is, I think he means it, that God is good, but is it also a way of
it's a deflection.
Deflecting?
It's totally a deflection.
Well,
he's with the Browns. I'm kidding.
Wow. Cleveland, send your mail here.
Okay, we're taking a break.
All right, when we come back, the battle that everyone's talking about. 100 men versus one gorilla. Can humans win? Well, Rick Ross has a theory on how we can get together. We can make a plan. We can do this, fellas. If you've been on social media the last couple of days, you've probably seen some version of this. A random guy said, I think 100 guys could beat one gorilla. Everybody just got to be dedicated to it. So
is it
that
true?
Just started this whole
And a lot of people said that's ridiculous. Gorillas can wipe out.
And a lot of people think that humans could do this.
What? Look at this gorilla. This is a silverback? Silverback gorilla.
All right, that's not the guy I'd go after. Isn't there a smaller one?
No, that's
we could
the point.
Take on?
That's the point.
I mean, how big does he have to be? Well, Rick Ross is weighing in, and he's got he thinks he has a winning strategy.
Right now, everyone's talking about 100 men versus a gorilla challenge that they're talking about. I know, it's kind of weird. I mean, do you think 100 men even stand a chance? Like,
I know they would.
What?
I got a homie I named Shaka Zulu right now, straight from Africa. He my One-on-one, take the gorilla. Then I got G.I. Joe to back him up. My artist, Nino Breeze, he used to do 1,000 planks in the federal penitentiary.
What about you? Would you ever do this challenge? Like, if the money was right?
I mean, I got so much money, my partners and investors would be disappointed if I got into a ring or something like that.
Smart, Rick. Smart.
Rick Ross is hilarious. You know, that's actually his artist, Nino Breeze, that he offered up for the Gorilla Challenge. But this conversation is super viral. And, you know, a lot of people think that, you know, if you gang up on the gorilla and, you know, be strategic about it, you can outsmart it and beat it. I agree.
This gorilla will
Not
win.
happening.
I mean, it is, on the other hand, look, gorillas are basically just us. I mean,
do you know what?
They have the same weakness.
If they got,
what if you just came up behind him, you did the little thing behind the knee, and his knee gave out, and then you have like 50 guys jump on one side?
The gorilla is pure muscle. No
he's
one
got
is
weaknesses.
taking him down.
He's got weaknesses.
You should try it. You know, if they get a group together.
Yeah,
I think you'd be good.
I think you could win. I wouldn't want to be in the first 50 wave or the first 75.
Yeah, that's called an appetizer for a gorilla.
Right.
I mean, come on.
I'd be like the 97th guy to go in.
To go out.
Hi, I'm Damar from Pittsburgh. I'm a good 240 pounds. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know if there was 100 of me, we're not taking on a gorilla. I don't know the Avengers. I feel like the Avengers are an Avenger level threat. The strength that they have is impeccable. The only thing that we got on our side is the fact that we have intelligence and the fact that we can make weapons to handle the situation. But hand-to-hand, no way.
Intelligence? Sometimes.
You gotta remember, the gorilla's gonna bite you too.
Yeah, it's in no contender.
All right, maybe
what
99.
What else you guys want to talk about?
My name's Derek from the Bay Area. I want to talk about Belichick and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
His interview, man. Like, I'm pretty sure it's a lack of experience on both ends from him, but you know, they need to come up with a better plan, get back to the drawing board, come up with a better defense for these type of interviews, man. Have the same story or something.
When you say like a 70-year-old has a lack of experience, it's an issue. It is just an issue.
Well, as far as interviews,
he doesn't do a lot of it.
It's not his thing.
Okay, taking a break.
When we come back, it is good to be Sierra's daughter, and also really good to be Russell Wilson's daughter. You're gonna see how their little girl celebrated her birthday. It was wicked good fun. Sierra and Russell Wilson's little girl, well, she's growing up quickly. Sienna is now 8, and she celebrated her birthday. I know, celebrity kids grow up so fast. Kind of like non-celebrity kids. But she had a wicked-themed birthday party, and Mom and Dad were in on the fun.
I am Mama Elphaba.
And I am Elphaba Jr.
Viero's here, Prince of Shiz University.
Hey, handsome. Happy birthday, baby. Thank you.
No, do not ask her to sing.
Sing with Defying and Gravity.
No, she's not doing that.
You know the difference, though, between celebrity and non-celebrity kids here? Non-celebrity kids usually don't get a $100,000 birthday party.
No.
I mean, this is elaborate.
They don't. Yeah, that's the thing.
I don't know what's that
when you're
like.
non-celebrity and you grow up fast, you just have to pay taxes.
God, look at
when you're a
that's
celebrity
crazy.
kid, you grow up fast.
8 years old and you get that?
What does she think she is, a Kardashian?
Boy, when she's 16, you're gonna get a car, right? No?
What?
Actually, well, no, it's a whole thing that we should talk about in the show, that kids are not getting cars anymore. We're gonna talk about it later, but Wicked's fine for now. We'll see you tomorrow.